Welcome to Point FM's nightly news for Monday, 15th January 2018. Government breaks ground for a major port modernization project expected to boost economic activity in the country. A multi-hazard warning system for the island is to become operational by 2019. The IMF predicts that the Dominican government's revenue may take years to reach pre-Hurricane Maria levels. And internationally, Congress in Argentina has created a commission to investigate the disappearance of a Navy submarine. Thank you so much for joining us on this Monday edition, a late version due to the ceremony taking place at the Deepwater Harbor. Welcome, I am Phil George. Government has broken ground for the commencement of a $90 million port modernization project that, once completed, will be among the largest facility of its kind in the region. Described as the single largest infrastructural project ever in the country, the expansion and modernization of the port is projected to boost the country's economy in a major way, thanks in part to the friendly relations that exist between Antigua and Barbuda and the People's Republic of China, whose Exim Bank will fund the project in the form of a low-interest loan. Chairman of the Antigua Port Authority, Senator Mary Claire Hurst, says the new facility will bring endless opportunities to the country, and despite the challenges experienced in the past, they are looking towards the future with great anticipation.
The last few years, 2014 to present, have shown great improvement, and we continue to demand more from the individuals tasked with management on managing the daily affairs of this most relevant national asset. The necessity to ensure that the port continues to improve is a national priority. Antigua and Barbuda's growth and competitiveness are directly linked to the efficient delivery of service to all users of the port. The extent of trade facilitation provided by the port intimates to potential investors that the environment is worthy of their capital. The fact that Antigua will now be the first country in the entire Caribbean to construct brand new air and seaports speak to the relative positioning of our island country as the leader for regional and global logistics.
The Port Authority chairman told the groundbreaking ceremony that employees are being prepared for the new facility, undergoing training in key areas to ensure the highest delivery of service.
Approximately 30 young Antiguans are currently enrolled at the Caribbean Maritime University in Jamaica. These students, among others, will form the nucleus of trained marine and transport personnel, ensuring that the human resource pool matches the vision of the organization. These young and energetic citizens of Antigua and Barbuda are attending university on a full scholarship thanks to the Honorable Prime Minister Gaston Brown and Minister of the Port. In addition to these young students, the entire executive team is enrolled at the Antigua campus of the Caribbean Maritime University. The local management team is being trained at the master's degrees level in operational supply chain and logistic management. This solidifies the board's mandate that training and development form the basis for advancement of people and the organization.
Contracting firm China Civil Engineering Construction Corporation will oversee the expansion project. Known for their work around the world, including Antigua, CCECC President Zhao Jinglong pledged his company's commitment to safety and quality throughout the project, which will ensure an on-time completion of work.
Of course, we will meanwhile ensure you the efficient management and workmanship, as I reported to His Honorable Prime Minister this morning, because we know the proper management and workmanship shall make the project complete on time and within budget. And we know the proper management and workmanship can transform the technology to the local partnership and can hire more from local and buy more from local. Ladies and gentlemen, I firmly believe that St. Joe's Deepwater Harbor project will be achieved successfully under the client's strong support and timely coordination.
That's the president of China Civil Engineering Construction Corporation. Once the new and improved Deepwater Harbor becomes operational, it is expected to triple the cargo it now receives. The modernization project is expected to last for 2.5 to 3 years, with warehouses, a container terminal, and extended seawall, among other spaces. All are to be constructed on 12 acres of land. Well, Prime Minister, the Honorable Gaston Brown, has credited the Chinese government for its unwavering support of Antigua and Barbuda, describing the People's Republic of China as the most important developmental partner for the government of Antigua and Barbuda. The Prime Minister says the late father of the nation, Sir V.C. Burt Sr., must be singled out for paving the way decades earlier with the Asian nation, and through diplomacy, Antigua and Barbuda has benefited greatly.
35 years ago, when our late father of the nation, Sir Vere Cornwall Burt Sr., signed to establish diplomatic relations with the People's Republic of China, I do not believe that Sir Vere at the time, notwithstanding the fact that he was a visionary leader, and the late President Deng Xiaoping of China, would have envisaged that two countries, the most populous country in the world and one of the smallest countries in the world, one of the largest economies in the world and one of the smallest economies in the world, a major country in the Eastern Hemisphere and a small island in the Western Hemisphere, with all these asymmetries, could have such an enduring relationship, and that the relationship would have grown to the level that it is today. I do not believe that they envisaged it. But today, the relationship has grown exponentially. And with each succeeding administration, we'd have seen an improvement in the relationship to the extent that today it is at its zenith.
The Prime Minister has underscored the importance of the port's upgrade and has singled out the management there for the efforts made in turning around the fortunes of the facility.
They have done a remarkable job. They have assisted us in transforming what was a bankrupted facility into a vibrant port operation. A port that could not have even paid salaries and wages. I ask any one of you to Google Antigua Port Authority and late wages, and you would have seen so many stories dating back to 2010, 2012, 2014, just before the former administration left office. But today, we're paying on time. We're paying bonuses. Many of the liabilities that we inherited, we have cleared them. Whereas the port was operating in an overdraft of $10 million, today it is operating in credit. It is an incredible transformation that has taken place here at the Port Authority.
Prime Minister, the Honorable Gaston Brown, speaking moments ago at the groundbreaking ceremony marking the commencement of a $90 million port modernization project. At 11 minutes past 7 o'clock, a multi-hazard warning system is to become operational in Antigua by 2019. The projection is from the Director of the National Office of Disaster Services, NODS. The importance of such a system has once again come to the fore following last week's earthquake in Central America that triggered tsunami warnings in part of the Caribbean. NODS Director Fillmore Mullin says a part of the warning system was purchased approximately 2 years ago, and access to additional funding will become available shortly. He has begun to seek quotation from manufacturers of the system.
So I'm awaiting from them a final quotation. Once we get that quotation, we'll then forward it to our Red Cross support partners who is part of this whole project. It is a regional project, but the Red Cross is handling the Antigua leg of it. CDM is handling the St. Lucia leg, and UNDP is handling, I think, Dominica and St. Vincent. This whole process is a project that runs for about 1 year and 3 months, and acquiring the equipment and software and other bits and pieces. Antigua's chosen that to be the first leg of the activity.
The second phase will involve training of relevant agencies and the media before the entire system is activated to ensure for a smooth system that will include texts and emails to adequately warn residents. Mullins stated that the installation of the system should be completed by the first quarter of 2018 and fully operational by February of 2019. Last week, the head of the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, Ronald Jackson, emphasized the need for early warning systems. As for an early warning system for the region, the NOD's director says that may be far from reality, since he is not aware of any agency that is willing to finance the project. A 14-year-old girl is missing this evening, and the police and her parents are seeking the public's assistance in locating her. According to police, Dejanay Banton of Hatton was last seen on Friday in Hatton area wearing a floral long-sleeved top and a pair of long black tights. The second form student of Otto's Comprehensive School is said to be slimly built, approximately 4 feet 5 inches in height and fair in complexion. Persons who may know the whereabouts of Dejanay Banton are asked to contact the Youth Intervention Unit at telephone numbers 562-8417 or 764-2302. Those numbers again, 562-8417 or 764-2302. The Prime Minister's wife, Mrs. Maria Bird Brown, has donated $10,000 to Team Antigua's efforts of creating a marine park that they hope will become a major tourist attraction once completed. During a ceremony on Saturday to welcome the local team who placed second in the Taliska Whiskey Atlantic Rowing Challenge, Prime Minister the Honourable Gaston Brown, on behalf of his wife, made the announcement, noting that the contribution will be made through Mrs. Brown's charity, the Shared Foundation. Prime Minister Brown offered congratulations to Team Antigua for their efforts on Saturday, expressing that more Antiguans and Barbudans should become involved in the Atlantic Rowing Challenge.
They are the embodiment of a can-do people, a people who can do all things, anything that any human could do in this planet, Antiguans and Barbudans can. And Team Antigua is the embodiment of that value. So I congratulate you once again for this record-breaking feat. And I take this opportunity on behalf of the entire nation of Antigua and Barbuda to wish you every success in your future endeavors. You have brought pride to this country, and you certainly would have brought international recognition. And for that, we are eternally grateful. And we hope that others will follow your lead, and that next year we will have at least 2 teams, a male team and a female team.
Team Antigua, made up of Scott Potter, John Watt, Eli Fuller and Nico Soyos, clocked the second fastest time ever in crossing the Atlantic, doing so in 30 days, 2 hours and 12 minutes from La Gomera in Spain. Team captain Eli Fuller told jubilant supporters at the weekend it was an arduous task, but through determination, they made it.
There was incredible hardship out there. You know, people ask me, send us texts on our little satellite messenger, how is it? By the way, please, don't ask us how the row was. For at least a month, please. But anyway, I can tell you, it was incredibly difficult. Really difficult. And I'm just so happy to see you all. We're also happy to see you. But these guys here, Big John, Scott, Nico, look at those guys. They're solid fellas, man. Solid. And the whole way through, they were talking about marine conservation. We're doing this. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. So God bless you guys.
That's team captain Eli Fuller of Team Antigua placing second in the Talisker Atlantic Rowing Challenge. Talisker Whiskey Atlantic Rowing Challenge. Antiguan-based regional airline Liat has appointed a new chief financial officer. Roger Inglis replaces Julie Reefer Jones, who assumed the office of Chief Executive Officer in 2017. A statement from Liat detailed that prior to joining Liat 1974 Limited, Inglis served as Chief Financial Officer of National Health Insurance Plan Turks and Caicos and has held positions at Wassa St. Lucia and Cable and Wireless Barbados Limited. Mr. Inglis is a chartered certified accountant and reportedly brings a wealth of experience, having worked for over 30 years in senior financial and leadership positions. Liat says Inglis is looking forward to his role in helping the company as it works towards financial stability and sustainability. Liat's CEO, Julie Reefer Jones, says the airline is looking forward to working with Mr. Inglis as he brings a wealth and variety of financial experience to the company, especially at this time when the airline industry is undergoing rapid changes. The new CFO's appointment took effect from January 8th, 2018. That's a look at the national developments this Monday evening. The IMF predicts the Dominican government's revenue may take years to reach pre-Hurricane Maria levels. We'll have that story and more in regional developments, and we'll also tell you what's happening further afield. Stay tuned. Thank you so much for staying with us on this late edition of Point FM's Nightly News for Monday, 15th January 2018. It's 20 minutes past 7 o'clock in Antigua and Barbuda and the rest of the Eastern Caribbean. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, has said that the revenue of the government of Dominica might take years to reach pre-Hurricane Maria levels. A report published in the IMF's newsletter for the Caribbean region said that although the government has large reserves from its Citizenship by Investment program and has received a payout of $20 million from the Caribbean Catastrophe Risk Insurance Facility, its revenue will decline sharply in the near term. It said that reconstruction costs are likely to put unprecedented strain on public finances. Large government reserves from the CIP program on top of the CCRIF payout provide an immediate source of funds, the report stated. Nevertheless, government revenues are expected to decline sharply in the near term and to recover only gradually, lagging the recovery in economic activity and possibly taking years to reach pre-hurricane levels. The report added the success of the reconstruction effort will depend on meticulous prioritization, planning, and sequencing of action, and the availability of sufficient financing on appropriate terms. The report pointed out that the debt financing alone is not enough to cover rehabilitation costs and might leave the island with an excessive burden of debt. Hurricane Maria devastated Dominica on September 18th of 2017 when the Category 5 hurricane made landfall. The island was still recovering from Tropical Storm Erica, which struck in August of 2015. Maria caused severe damage estimated at near 100% of GDP. The hurricane is reportedly Dominica's worst natural disaster, with more than 30 deaths and damage estimated at $1.3 billion. It's said for Dominica to recover fully, significant effort is needed from its people and the international community. Jamaican Prime Minister Andrew Holness is expected to hold talks with the heads of various bargaining units this week as the government seeks to ease concern over protracted wage talks involving public sector workers. Last month, the police staged 2 sickouts to protest the proposed 6% wage increase over 2 years. Nurses also staged a similar protest in November. Tension between government and the country's teachers eased last week after news emerged that favorable consideration was being given to certain fringe benefits proposed by the Jamaica Teachers Association. The JTA president says the Prime Minister had informed her that the cabinet reacted favorably to proposed improvements to several fringe benefits. However, teachers will know this week the government's proposal for an increase in basic wages. With 28 murders in just the first 14 days of the year, Trinidad and Tobago's National Security Minister Edmund Dillon yesterday said the various national security agencies are not comfortable. However, he assured that perpetrators will be brought to justice because there is an all-out war against crime and criminal elements. Dillon was fielded questions from the media about the killing spree that has been taking place in the first month of the new year, following a press briefing at the National Academy for the Performing Arts yesterday. He admitted that any murder is also always a concern, adding that none of the agencies of national security are comfortable right now. The minister stated law enforcement has been beefed up, and over the weekend there was not only an increased presence of police and soldiers on the roads, but police officers were in different focus operations in an effort to catch criminals. Dillon said up to yesterday he had discussions with the Deputy Police Commissioner in charge of crime about developing different strategies. He said preliminary investigations showed that several of the murders were drug and gang related. The minister was once again critical of the opposition for failing to support the anti-gang bill. He said during debate of the legislation late last year, they have taken the government down to the wire clause by clause without any objection being raised. Turning now to developments on the international scene, Congress in Argentina has created a commission to investigate the disappearance of a Navy submarine and its 44 crew in the Atlantic Ocean. The Ara San Juan went missing on 15th November after reporting an electrical problem. No trace of the missing submarine has been found despite an intensive search. The commission will investigate the causes and circumstances of the vessel's disappearance as well as the ongoing search and rescue operation. Relatives of the missing crew had asked for the commission to be created. It will be made up of 6 members of the Chamber of Deputies and 6 senators from both opposition and government parties. The commission will nominate a team of retired Navy officials to advise it. All of the commission's reports will be made public, and the relatives of the missing crew will be allowed to sit in on its sessions. The commission's aim is to establish what caused the submarine to disappear and to assess its condition before it sailed, as well as analyzing how the Navy and the Ministry of Defense have conducted the search. Relatives of the missing crew members have criticized the government's handling of the search, accusing officials of withholding key information. The head of the Argentine Navy was sacked last month following the loss of the submarine and its crew. Spain is set to replace the United States as the world's second most popular tourism location, with France retaining top spot according to the United Nations World Tourism Organization. Overall, the number of international tourist arrivals grew 7% in 2017 to 1.3 billion, according to latest estimates. It said this strong momentum was expected to continue in 2018 with a growth rate of between 4 and 5%. UNWTO said definitive figures would not be published until the spring. In 2016, both the United States and Spain received around 76 million international visitors. But last week, Spanish Prime Minister Mariano Rajoy said the country had a record year in 2017, with more than 82 million international visitors, a year-on-year leap of almost 8%. In its preliminary analysis of 2017 tourism data, UNWTO said, led by Mediterranean destinations, Europe recorded extraordinary results for such a large and rather mature region. Europe saw an 8% increase in international arrivals during the year, as did Africa. Asia and the Pacific recorded growth of 6%, the Middle East 5%, and the Americas 3%. Tourism was boosted by a global economic upswing and a rebound in spending from Brazil and the Russian Federation after some years of decline. That's a look at regional and international developments. Stay tuned. The weather report is next. And so we end Point FM's nightly news for Monday, 15th January 2018. Just before we go, a recap of the headlines that made the news. Government breaks ground for a major $90 million port modernization project expected to boost economic activity in the country. A multi-hazard warning system for the island is to become operational by 2019. The IMF predicts that the Dominican government's revenue may take years to reach pre-Hurricane Maria levels. And Congress in Argentina has created a commission to investigate the disappearance of a Navy submarine and its 44 crew in the Atlantic Ocean. Thanks to those of you who have joined us via radio and to those who joined us via Facebook Live. On behalf of all of us here at Point FM, I am Phil George wishing you a great evening, and be sure to join me again tomorrow. Goodbye.